Oh, hey everyone, welcome to another episode of First Canada Live. I'm your host, Karthik Kanagasabapathi, and we are here for an exciting show. It is the year 2026. Happy New Year and happy kickoff to everyone. Before we get started, though, folks, as Canadians, it is important to recognize the land of which we are a part. We begin our show by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. While we meet on a virtual platform, we must take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the land which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast and north to south, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this nation home. Please join us in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and to consider how each of us, in our own way, can move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. All right, folks, now let me welcome our co-host for the show, been here before from the First Canada Youth Council on Team 865, Warp 7 from Toronto. It's Danny. What up, Danny?
Nothing much, Karthik. How are you?
I am good. Happy New Year. Happy kickoff.
Yeah,
How are you doing? How are you feeling about the new season?
I like it. I like it. I didn't realize at first when I watched the game reveal that it was actually like a different game piece than 2020. When I realized that, I was happy.
It's
Um,
it's
it's
close.
very similar. It's the same
It's
color,
very
but yeah,
same color, size is close. Although the texture, and I think one of
yeah.
our guests, Cole, is going to be showing us some of the differences between them. But yeah, it's interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's exciting time of year, like we have a new game, we have a new season, new beginnings, and all the things. And we're going to be talking about all of them today because that's right here, folks. We are here with some FRC experts from across the globe. Actually, this today's show is just from here in Ontario, talking about the new rebuilt game, and I'm thrilled. There's so much going on in this game strategically that we just need to dive in. A lot of people are like, "Oh, well, it's so simple. It's just like 1 point for every ball, and then you go hang." And it's like, no, there's a lot more going on in this game. So I don't know. But before we get started, Danny, what are you most excited about for this season? Whether it be part of the game or something else?
That's a good question. I mean, provincials is always my favorite. Um, I always get to see everyone from the past. Like, I mean, I'm graduating this year, so it'll be a lot of
Oh yeah.
sad goodbyes this year, but yeah, that's provincials is always my favorite.
Provincials is special. I think especially for when you're a graduating student, it's just like the end of a journey. It's kind of like a graduation ceremony to
Yeah.
end, or like the end of the year party, or if we're watching Stranger Things, the Dungeons and Dragons game at the end where everyone's putting their book back on the shelf. It'll be an emotional time, but it's going to be a celebration too because there's going to be
Yeah,
so much
absolutely.
happening and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And
Uh
I feel like,
sorry.
oh,
No, 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 no. All you, Danny.
no, I was just gonna say I feel like I get to experience more of provincials every year because the when I was in grade 9, I left like as soon as my team got eliminated, and then I've gradually been staying longer. So I don't. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's a big festival. It's a show,
Yeah.
like that old video says, it's like, Glastonbury except for robots, This is yeah, it's the festival. It's going to be great. Hey folks, if you have questions throughout the show in chat, please post them away for us. We're recording them all and we will try and answer as many of them as we can. Ones that we can't necessarily get to, maybe we'll address in the Chief Delphi thread as well. But yeah, we're here to you know, there's a lot of things we can talk about this game. We want to kind of direct it to where the audience wants to go. So tell us what you want to hear about, and we'll do our best. But of course, folks in chat and everywhere else, remember there is nothing more important in our community than gracious professionalism. We're here to celebrate excellence in our community. So let's try and keep the comments positive and helpful and resourceful. We're trying to lift others up, not drag people down. And speaking of uplifting, as is tradition on First Canada Live, we do a little bit of a wellness moment with our youth council member. So, Danny, from the youth council, tell us, what do you do when you need to decompress?
Well, I'm very invested in my music, so either if it's playing my guitar, which is right there, bright blue guitar. See, I had bright blue hair last year, so it made a little bit more sense, but I just listen to music or play my guitar, and it usually helps.
Da- Danny, what's your go-to song on the guitar?
I only really know one song. Like technically, I've
Okay,
been learning for like a year, but like
so
I
what's your
can't really
song?
play well.
That's
Hmm?
okay. Everyone starts somewhere. But what? So what's the one song that you do like to play?
Um, I don't remember the name of it. It's
That
oh
okay.
no, it's okay. It's the "Come As You Are" riff on from
Come
Nirvana.
as you are, as you
And
are.
no, I will not be playing it. Yeah.
That Kurt Cobain, the MTV Live in New York special still gets me, that especially the version of Come As You Are. It's look that one up on YouTube. It's a classic.
I have the Nirvana Unplugged CD. I don't know if you can tell.
I
That's up
can't
on my wall
tell,
right
but
now. Yeah.
I know the exact one you're talking about because that was that
I'm
MTV special, which was like basically his last big performance before
yeah,
he
yeah.
passed, and he was there in that ugly old sweater that, like, when I was in high school, everyone started, including myself, wearing that, sweaters that looked like that looked a little dirty and old and disheveled or whatever. Huge, huge Nirvana fan.
Yeah.
Am I? Oh, sorry, I did that in kind of like a Yoda voice. All right,
Honestly, my
folks.
never
Go,
mind.
go. No, 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 no. Keep going, Danny.
I was just gonna say my favorite song off of that CD is the David Bowie cover of the
Yes.
world. Like when I heard
Yeah.
that the first time, I was like, oh, this is perfect.
That was like a staple on like every mixtape I made in high school. That one, just oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to listen to that after the show. I might get a little teary eyed. Might make me a little bit emotional. I'm a nostalgic king. All right, folks. So before we dive into the game, let's go through the news updates. And there are some things here. For First Canada teams, so that's teams here in Ontario. Did you opt out of your FRC? Did your FRC team opt out of the Kiddo Parts Drive Base or the Black Tote? Remember the vouchers that you have. Your Kiddo Part Drive Base voucher, $450 at Andy Mark, which can be redeemed at Studica. Your Black Tote, 125 at Andy Mark or 125 at Rev. 125 Andy Mark can be redeemed at Studica. The 125 Rev can be redeemed at revrobotics.ca. So just make sure you're doing that. We know there's challenges with making purchases from the United States right now in Canada, but there's ways to get things done thanks to the great suppliers and resellers who are supporting our community here. Oh, it's that time of year, Danny. This one that applies to you. First Canada scholarships are now open. Lots of scholarships are available from schools, organizations, and First Canada. Scholarships like the Don Bosey Leadership and Innovation for anyone who's going to go into a field to be a future leader. The Canadian Women in STEM Award, the First Canada Indigenous Award, and many others. So, the key is you've got to apply and be eligible. Apply, apply, apply. We're going to put that link in chat right now so you can learn about all the details and deadlines. The deadlines are different for all of them, but they are starting to come up. So start thinking about scholarships. Because, hey, who doesn't like free money? Everyone likes free money, I guess. Danny, have you ever wanted to run a summer camp?
Mm,
It's okay if the answer is no.
I mean, I
Just
technically
pretend. Just
okay.
pretend.
Yes,
Yes. Oh,
absolutely,
wow, Danny. Well, if you're interested in
absolutely.
running a fundraiser for your team but not sure where to start, why not consider a First Canada Robotics Lego Summer Camp? Join us for a brief info session on February 3rd via Zoom, where it's going to be a good info session because the people on the info session are like Shanika and Dave Ellis and Annika. That's like rock stars right there. I'd
Wow.
just go to hang out with them, and maybe you can see if it's a good fit for you. So you can RSVP at the link that's going in chat. First Canada will provide funding and kits to help you run your camps, and full training sessions where you learn how to do this stuff and all. And many teams have turned this into a massive annual fundraiser for their teams, and it develops a pipeline of future students because we're better to get students than who've already gone to your robotics camp right there. They say it'll be the students who were born in like the year 2015 or whatever coming in. It's wild. It's wild. Everyone's so young except for me. Oh, okay. First Canada Live, other updates. Our show schedule, folks. Hey, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications right now because our schedule is going to be interesting. We are here this week for the kickoff show. We are back next week for the global unveiling of Team 118's Everybot. So we're here for that. Then we're going to take the build season off, but we're going to come back at the end and we're going to do a wrap up of FLL provincials and FTC provincials. Then after every week, there's an event here in Ontario for FRC. We'll be recapping the event and we'll be back doing recaps and recaps and recaps all the way through the first championship. So Make sure you subscribe, like, and do all the things. If you prefer us on a podcast, maybe you're listening to us on a podcast right now, you can subscribe on Spotify. So link going in chat right there, and you can get your podcast there. You won't be able to see our gorgeous faces, but you'll be able to hear our sultry voices. That's right. I don't know if our voices are sultry, but we're going to go with it. Finally, not finally, because we have two more updates. If your team needs support in any way this year and you're like, oh, where do I get help from? Join the Ontario team Slack. That's where Ontario teams can communicate. If you are looking for a part that you need, post in the Slack. Maybe someone in your area has it and can bring it to your school, or you can go pick it up from them. Maybe you want to find a practice field to use. I think representatives from every practice field in Ontario are in the Slack group. If we got some of our suppliers that are in there, Rev Robotics is in there, WCP Canada is in there. You have some questions, ask away in the Slack group. And then finally, for First Canada alumni and future alumni, Danny, that's going to be you soon. You are going to be an alum. That's wild to think about.
That is wild to think about.
Well, soon you'll be able to join our alumni group. And so you can do that by going to the website that is going to Slack right now. There, you'll find out about our LinkedIn group, our newsletter, career connections, ways to get jobs at First Canada sponsors. We got something new coming up with that, so more details to come, but take a look at all of it. All right, folks, that was a lot of news updates. We're going to start talking about the game, but before we can do that, we're going to take a look at a word from one of our sponsors, TD SYNNEX.
TD SYNNEX connects and empowers a vibrant, expansive ecosystem of innovative companies that create solutions for increasingly complex business challenges. We help more than 150,000 customers maximize the value of IT investments, achieve business outcomes, and unlock growth opportunities. By simplifying complexity for our vendors and customers, allowing new technologies to be effortlessly adopted. With 22,000 of the IT industry's best and brightest, we passionately deliver compelling technology that enhances the way we work, play, and live. As the intense pace of the IT marketplace continues to accelerate, we will remain at the center, orchestrating essential solutions, delivering vital, high-growth technologies, and working to sustain the world around us. With 50 years of success at our backs, we continue to evolve and improve the way we support our partners. We believe anyone can achieve great outcomes with technology, and TD SYNNEX is proud to make that happen every day.
All right, Danny, you ready to meet our guests? Where are you? I lost you, Danny. I lost you. I found you, Danny. There we go. All right. It's time to meet our guests. First off, let's introduce First Canada alum and mentor of Team 2056 OP Robotics, First Canada MC and game announcer, Emily Forster's here. Where? Emily, there you are.
Hi,
welcome, Emily. Everyone's camera's delayed today. That's a little weird. Emily, welcome back. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm doing great. How are you?
I am great. I am excited. I'm glad you're here. Emily, one semester left, eh? You're almost
there.
done. Almost done, you know. Danny, Emily, was the co-host for the first ever episode of First Canada Live when she was on the Youth Council. Yeah.
Wow.
And the guest we interviewed as the first ever guest on First Canada Live is coming up next. He's a First Canada alum of Team 4252 Cardinal Robotics, former mentor of Team 3683 Dave and 1310 Runnymede Robotics, also moonlit with Team 2609 Beaverworks, Team 1114 Symbotics, and many, many other teams. He's been on, I believe, at last calculation, 5% of the teams in the province you have been on for FRC. So that's really impressive. Like it is none other than head referee Rishi Jotsingani. What up, brother?
Hello, brother. How's it going? Very excited to be here.
I know. But Rishi, as First Canada grows, to keep that 5% number up, you're going to have to join more teams.
It might be at risk. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
But
Emily, does 2056 need another mentor?
Well, I.
Listen, now that I live in a house that I'm probably going to be in for a while, things might change. So I'm probably stable for a while.
What do you see? You might be in for a while. You're in that house.
You never know.
Cats. You have cats.
That's true. That's true. She might jump on the desk mid talking, but we'll see.
That's okay. That's okay. Oh, we got a hello in chat from Samosa Mom. So
course.
there we go. There we go. Rockstar right there. We also had a hello in chat from Aid Kafinadifij. Emily, I
That's
think you
Eric.
may know that person. Yeah, I kind of figured as
Mom.
much. Yeah, everyone's there. All right, folks. And finally, First Canada alum and current mentor and drive coach of Team 4946, the Alpha Dog. Are the dogs in the house? Yes, they are. FTC head ref and FRC volunteer many in all areas. It is Cole Sear. What up, Cole?
Hey, how's it going? This is
Good.
this is fun. The hibernation pod open, and I'm finally able to start the game.
We've unleashed you. Like Cole's like, okay, I'm awake now. You know, it's like after Einstein, they put you in cryo sleep or whatever. You know, it's like wheel him out. Oh, we have a comment in chat, Rishi. We are not moving anytime soon.
All right, that's good. That's good. I'm glad.
There you go. There you go. That's we're with it. Okay, folks. This is it. This is it is the rebuilt season presented by Haas. So before we take some time to hear what everyone has to say, let's just refresh everyone's memory on the game. Folks, we are going to speed up the video a little bit because we know most of you have seen it. We're sorry for the chipmunk voice, but just enjoy the rebuilt game animation at 1.5 speed. We'll be back in a sec.
Welcome to the 2026 First Robotics competition game, Rebuilt, presented by Haas. 2 alliances of 3 teams each compete to earn points by scoring fuel in their active hub and climbing their tower. Alliances earn additional rewards for meeting additional scoring thresholds. Robots start each match on their starting line and may be preloaded with up to 8 fuel. During the first 20 seconds of the match, both hubs are active. Robots are autonomous and can be programmed to score fuel into the hub and climb their tower to level 1. Robots can collect additional fuel from the depot or from human players in the outpost. Human players can also throw from the outpost into the hub to score points. Fuel scored in auto is worth 1 point each. After fuel is scored in the hub, it is returned back to the neutral zone. Robots can drive over the bumps or under the trenches to collect additional fuel from the neutral zone. The remaining 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the match are the teleop period, where drivers control their robots. Teleop is split into 6 segments: the transition shift, 4 alliance shifts, and the endgame. During the shifts, hubs are either active or inactive. Each fuel scored in an active hub is worth 1 point. To start teleop, both hubs are active for the 10-second transition shift. Next are the alliance shifts. The alliance that scores the most fuel in auto will have their hub inactive for the 25-second duration of alliance shift 1. The opposing alliance hub will be active during this time. For the next shift, the hub status will switch, and the hub that was inactive will become active. The hubs will continue to alternate for alliance shifts 3 and 4 as teams continue to collect fuel and store it in their hub while it's active. Last is the endgame, where both hubs are active for the final 30 seconds of the match. Teams that can score enough fuel in their hub to meet the energized threshold will earn a ranking point. Teams that score enough fuel in their hub to meet the supercharged threshold will earn an additional ranking point. As time runs out, teams return to climb their tower. A robot that can climb to level 1 will earn 10 points. A robot that can climb to level 2 will earn 20 points. And a robot that can climb to level 3 will earn 30 points. An alliance that can earn enough tower points from robots climbing in either auto or teleop will earn the traversal ranking point. The alliance that earns the most points overall wins the match.
All right, that's the game, folks. So I want to hear first impressions. Rishi, you were the first one to turn on your camera. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's very fun. I think it's very fun to watch. I mean, being someone who's played a lot of the games, it's awesome to see the like throwbacks to all the past ones that we've seen. Yeah, I think it'll just be really fun to play, and there's a lot of like unique things that people can do.
All right, Danny, student perspective, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I have like watched quite, or like I've gone back and watched old game, and I do see like old games. Obviously, I'm not as attached to them because I haven't like played a part of them, but it's really cool. I think my team is gonna do pretty well because the seasons that we have done pretty well in the past are very similar to this one. So I have faith in my team. I'm excited about that part. And it looks cool. Like,
Okay, Emily, what were
I
your
love
thoughts
it.
when you saw this game? You love it, eh?
I love it. I love a good shooting game because it's just very exciting, lots happening. I love the idea of like the time shift, which I know we'll talk about later. I think there's a lot of really cool aspects of this game that makes it very unique to a lot of recent games that we've had, but also like taking aspects from a lot of previous years' games as well, which is kind of cool.
Right. Cole, last year was arguably the most successful season for the Alpha Dogs. How are you feeling about this year's game?
Scared.
It's cute.
Yeah.
What's scaring you, brother?
I think this game, like we said, it's a lot of past games, but I think that if you just think about past games, you're gonna fall into traps, right? This is not past games. It has a lot of themes of past games and stuff like that. But if you go ahead and try to copy a robot from previous years, you're gonna find that it just doesn't work. And then strategies that worked in those past games won't work because of twists that they add in this game, right?
Well, I think it's also interesting because we are in a different era of FRC, and I think that era kind of started in 2022. Like, I mean, like it really established itself in 2022. It started like ushering its way in. I think 2018 Houston Championship, when we saw all those swerve drives on Einstein, I think that opened up a lot of eyes, being like, oh, okay, like this is where First is headed. And then 2019, when the first brushless motor came into play, the Neo, 2020, getting rid of the BOM, and so suddenly, expensive motors became a thing that everyone could use. Obviously, getting rid of the bag so teams could unlimited iterate. We go into, the Falcon shows up, and then we go into the pandemic, and all of a sudden we come out and like, I've got this in our notes somewhere, but last year, 82% of the robots across First were swerve, and by Worlds it was 96%. But so like the games play differently now. That if we were to play an old game from the past now, it would feel very different. And like sometimes you watch old videos. I was talking with the folks at the Robo Sports Network, and a lot of them, they go back and watch videos from past seasons, but they speed them up to 1.5 speed, so it plays like a game today because the robots are so much faster. And so to assume that things are going to behave the way that they did in a shooting game a bunch of years ago is not necessarily in play here. So I think that's a good point. I like Emily, love this game. I just think it is fantastic. I think the game is elegant in that last year there was just like a lot of stuff happening. There's algae, there's coral, there's this game is like, yeah, score fuel, and they're each worth 1 point. Just that's nice and elegant, but there's so many different ways about doing it. And I love that this game has the potential for, we got to discuss it, maybe it doesn't, but to me it seems like this game has the potential for some collaboration within alliances in the match. What my favorite part of Crescendo was the passing. And I think for those robo boomers in the audience who remember the 2010 game, with the 3 zones and passing the soccer balls and like all the game pieces being returned to the middle zone and then coming out or whatever, I think there's some plays there. Like in Ontario that year, you specifically remember the 11-14-20-56 combo that year. 11-14 would just get to the back zone and just fire everything to the front, and 20-56 would clean up, and that 11-14 would slowly move down the field, then come to the front zone and help. It's just like that sort of progression seems to be, it's neat. And like I think this game is going to feel more like a sport than any game we've had since Aerial Assist 2014, which was again another game which had
Very
multiple
much.
zones and passing, and I think the offense defense split. And I think for the audience, it's kind of cool because something that I struggle with in games is when there's action happening. Like last year, it's like, what do I watch? What do I watch? There's
Yeah.
like the dogs are on one side, 2200s on the other side, and like I want to watch both, but I can't, But now it's like you can kind of focus on the hub that is active. There's still going to be other stuff happening that you want to see or whatever, but like there's a central focus.
I think also from a game announcer perspective, this game is great. Because it's just easy. Because as a game announcer, at least last year, it's hard to talk because there's so many. Everyone's doing different things, especially like when it's happening so fast and you don't want to miss something. This game, it makes it like with the split and like the time shifts. I think it makes it a little bit easier.
At provincial finals last year, there was just there's 6 robots doing
Yeah.
stuff, like doing like exciting things, like Cole,
With
didn't you have
full
like
briefs
an
and
algae
it's
shooter
just-
on your alliance? You know, like that we were
Yeah.
watching.
Best.
You and then the Chargers just bam, 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 and then obviously OP just like doesn't matter where the coral's tossed, it just somehow ends up in their robot. And then the Cavs with the fastest short cycle ever. It was just like, what do you watch? And so this year, teams are all going to be doing stuff, but it's like very central, and you're going to see that. And I am excited to see. Well, there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about here. So at times we might bring up a map of the field and we might draw some things out or whatever. But I think we got to start right at the top with this game, and that's acquisition and release of game pieces. So before we do that, let's take a look at the field tour video of the hub. We're going to watch this at 1.5 speed. Fiona, we're going to look at the video of the hub. So that's what the field looks like, in case you're wondering. But yeah, let's take a look at that video right now. We're going to see it at 1.5 speed. Fiona and Liz's voices are going to be going really, really fast, but like, let's just take a look.
Hi, I'm Fiona.
And I'm Liz. We're here to tell you about the hub.
There are 2 hubs on the field, one for the Red Alliance and one for the Blue Alliance.
Teams can launch fuel into their Alliance hub from their Alliance zone, the zone closest to their Alliance station. Be sure to check out the manual for full details about where teams can launch from.
The hub has a flat face that teams can use to line up if desired.
In Rebuild, Teleop is split into segments, the transition shift, 4 Alliance shifts, and the endgame. During the match, the status of a hub is either active or inactive. Both Alliance hubs are active during auto, the transition shift, and endgame. During the Alliance shifts, only one red or blue Alliance hub will be active. When a hub is active, it lights up. It will also pulse the last 3 seconds to indicate that the hub is going to become inactive. Check out the Alliance Station video for more details about how timing of the shifts are communicated to drivers, and be sure to read the game manual to understand all the details.
The Alliance hub has a hexagonal funnel at the top made out of polycarbonate panels. The top lip of the funnel is about 72 inches off the floor, and the opening at the top is approximately 41 inches wide.
Robots that launch into the hub will have to be precise to hit their target.
Any fuel that gets thrown a little too far will hit the net, and most of the time will fall back to the neutral zone.
The net is held up by an aluminum frame and will move slightly as it gets hit. There's a gap at the base between the bottom of the net and the hub structure.
The net also prevents teams from launching from the neutral zone into the hub.
As fuel goes through the hub, it moves through one of the 4 exits, where it gets counted and randomly dispersed back into the neutral zone.
As a reminder, fuel is only counted when the hub is active, so be sure to time your scoring correctly.
In reality, fuel will take a few seconds to process from the top of the goal to the exit. The field will continue to count a tiny bit longer to compensate for the processing time. Check out the manual for full details.
April tags are located on the 4 faces of the hub for teams to locate themselves around the field. There are 2 on each side. One is centered and one is offset. See the field dimension drawings for exact dimensions and details.
Good luck, and we'll see you at the competition.
All right, so this game piece, Cole, you have some there. You want to show it to us? Yeah, it's a
Here, I'm
round
just gonna
thing.
unblur my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about 6 inches. It's 15 centimeters exactly. It's quite smooth, quite firm, and it actually has a more weight than you'd think. It weighs just under a half a pound.
And
Yeah.
that's significant, right? Because like we're gonna be talking about, well, I mean, like you can carry as many of these as you want. And so I guess Cole, what do you think a robot can carry this year?
Well, I mean, I think the Kit of Parts robot was carrying something like 20, but they were pretty inefficient with their basket and how they were doing things. We calculated that, the largest size basket, if you didn't have a turret or anything like that, or any shooter, you were looking at 150 something balls, depending on how you're packing it in.
God.
And that would be 75 pounds on your robot of just balls. So quite a lot of balls that you could hold.
Yeah, it's something teams are going to have to consider in their design. That if you are, I think like 80 balls is like very reasonable for a full size robot or whatever. Actually, you know what? Before we even talk about that, one of the RI3D groups out of Indiana, Cranberry Alarm, they put together a little prototype. This is okay. I love this video for so many reasons. Number one, I love quick and simple prototypes, and they took a drive base and some pizza boxes and did some testing. And so let's take a look at how many balls they were able to fit in. So let's take a look from our friends at Cranberry Alarm.
Hey, this is Corey with Cranberry Alarm RI3D, and in front of me I've got a pizza box hopper prototype that we've been working on. So the dimensions of this hopper, as is, are 26 inches across, and it's roughly 28 inches long. So we've got a 26 by 28 drivetrain, and we're expecting the hopper to be able to extend out around 10 or 11 inches outside of the frame perimeter. And you can see a couple of the fuel in there for scale. We found that we can fit around 50 fuel. The current height of this hopper is 21 inches, so it will fit under the trench. We thought that was a very important design decision for the flexibility and strategy of the robot. We believe that an extendable hopper is going to get you around a third more fuel to be able to store, but this is the size and design that we wanted to test out in prototype. As of now, this is the hopper design and size that we're going to be going with for our RI3D robot.
Founded by First Alumni.
Yeah, so when we take a look at that, they fit 50 balls in there, and they were only using 22 inches. So if you assume that like your robot's got 6 inches of drivetrain, so then they have 16 inches of height that they're working with on their hopper. They'd be able to get another 8 inches if they went full height. So that's another, you're upping the capacity by 50% right there. So like it's going from 50 to 75. So this is like a massive amount of balls. So what should people be aware of? We talked about the weight, but Emily, Rishi, Cole, like what are some things that you think teams need to be thinking about with these with the fuel?
I think, like you mentioned, how if you go taller, you can hold more, which is great. And like using max height is great, but also there's an element of this field that makes it so you might not want to go max height with the trench or the bump. And I think that decision will play into it heavily on how many fuel you can hold.
And also, like, if you have a bucket full of fuel or whatever, and you're trying to go over that bump at a high speed, how much of that fuel are you going to keep? And like, you've got to be thinking about that. You need a lid or whatever. But if you have a lid, that takes out a massive amount because because the height limit applies to the lid, not to the balls or whatever. And so there's a lot to be thinking about that. Or this game, obviously, and we're going to talk about it later, but like the viability of defense. But if defense is being played a lot and you have an open top hopper that's full, our ball is going to start coming to fly out. I don't know. Cole, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something to think about. You're cutting a lot of space off. You're going into the trench and going over the bump. There's a lot of risk. And I think also a lot of people are not thinking about, or they're thinking too much about their actions in a vacuum and not thinking about the fact that there's 5 other teams on the field, right? You can decide if the bump and the trench are not protected. There's no protection there. If you looked at past games like 2016 when you were going over those things, you were protected when you were able to do that, but you're not this time. So if you're trying to, very slowly go over that bump and that's how your team goes over the bump, I'm probably just going to ram you at full speed and,
there goes all your
hey,
balls. Yeah.
there's all your balls are gone. Thanks. Right. So, that's something you want to keep in mind, right?
At the same time, like, yeah, going through just planning trench only is like under a defender is like it's going to be a bad time, like especially having to go like crossfield to even like deal with it. So there's a lot of like ways you can kind of take advantage of the fact that you can move fuel pretty easily around the field without having to like carry it over. But yeah, I think there's just going to be a lot of with this. Going back to the game piece, it's like you're gonna have to test a lot, especially with like how you're gonna, what happens when you like drive on top of it, what happens when you try to index it and actually move it from one side of the field to the other. It doesn't bounce that much. I guess that's a great part of it as well. But yeah, it's also it feels very like hazardous to me. I'm kind of afraid of coaching this year because if someone is passing fuel from really far away, it's like, yeah, I'm planning a concussion potentially.
It's not something you're not used to from FTC referee.
That's true. I got hit a couple times in the face from those.
It's it's interesting because when you look at the layout of the field, it's like there's these 4 channels that you can use to pass from zone to zone. But the channels are all obstructed in their own way. And like Cole said, there's no protection. Like, there's no protections anywhere in this game. There is no protection. Like there is mild protection on the tower in the last 30 seconds. Rishi, can you explain why? No, we'll talk about that. We'll wait till we get to the tower. But I have thoughts on that. So yeah, you're going to be going up a 15-degree incline, carrying 5 pounds more or 40 pounds more of stuff. So that's going to affect your center of gravity or whatever. And someone could be, it doesn't matter what zone it's on, like you could be parked wherever and that's there for you. And then like, can you whip around and get to the other bump in time, and like at some point, like, it's very easy to say like, yeah, that's cool. I'm just going to stay in my mid zone and just gather and plow or whatever. At some point, you're going to want to change zones. And how can you do that quickly and as such? And even with the trench, you're like, oh, I can just go into the trench. Be blocked too. Like defense can be powerful, but I keep saying, oh, we'll get to it later, but maybe we can just start talking about some of this stuff out of order. I think defense is really hard to play this year. So Heather, if you could do me a favor and bring up the slides now, but jump to the second slide. And while we wait for that to come up, I took some pictures from the field tour that first uploaded. And it'll be here in a second. Let's go to the next slide. That's the view from Red 1 driver station. And that's the view from Red 2 driver station. Like, folks, I don't know, like, Cole and Rishi, you've been, I'm the unk of the group. You've been behind the glass more recently than I have. What do you see?
I mean, Red 2 is obviously not ideal for the most part, but yeah, you're going to have to be very strategic with how you place your defender as an alliance. I do see the viability with it. I think especially like when you start to get later on in the season, your defender is not just like a defender. You're like a stealer, if anything, to an extent. And it's like because the time is so concentrated, it's like there's opportunity to like take advantage of it with the shifts. But I mean, yeah, it's pretty hard to see. I mean, I think it's not the first time we've had like defenders and like bad sightlines.
I think like, if you think of the airships in 2017 and that spot behind the airship, but like right now, like, I think the spot where the best spot to be scoring in your hub is right at the front of your hub, the backside, because you're hidden. They can't see back there. They don't even know that you're there. So that's really interesting.
This picture right here is exactly what when we had discussion about like where defenders are going to be and why we thought that it's less likely than you would think that a defender is going to come all the way to your zone, right? Because imagine you're driving right now in this picture and you're playing defense on a robot you can't see, trying to score into a goal you can't see, with balls on the floor that you can't see. Like, how are you going to do it? And if you've driven at all on like the camera and you think, oh, I'll just put a camera on my robot and I can see, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't work. The delay is way too much.
It's an interesting one. Heather, thanks for bringing that slide up right there. So, that we can see that. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Emily, jump.
I kind of want to add in there with the defense. In previous years, like Crescendo, we had blockers because we had a similar like height, like shooting game to I think a similar height. You could have blockers that could physically like block the net, or not block the net, but like made it very hard for people to shoot above them. This year, because of the height limit, I don't think that same strategy is going to work for defenders, and so defense will work very differently this year.
Yeah, I think there's a great comment in chat right here saying game piece denial is greater than defense, and I think that's so much of what this game is. It's getting the balls that your opponent is trying to get before they can and sending them to the other side of the field. And whether you do that in the defense zone, which is hard because, like Cole said, you can't really see them or whatever, but clearing out that neutral zone. So normally in this segment, we always have the question of, okay, so where do you want to pick objects up from, the human player or the ground? And it's like, there's 504 balls in this game and 48 of them are in the human player. Sorry, folks. You need a ground intake. Like there's no, like, someone tell me why you don't need a ground intake. Can anyone make that argument?
You can still have a 24 ball auto. No, that's really low.
You could have a 32. You could have a 32 ball.
Oh, sorry, 32. You're right. Yeah, 32 ball auto.
Yeah. I think you have to. I think you have to. Like it's the kit bot has one, folks. This is like bare minimum. Like it's there with drive. You gotta acquire them. So I don't think we need to spend too much time on them. But here's a question that we can spend a lot of time on. Are you passing? Or are you always traversing between zones?
Yeah, go for it, Cole.
Yeah, I think that normally in a standard game you would say, "Oh, I'm just going to do my cycles." But the thing that throws a wrench into that is the shifts, right? There's a 25-second period where my balls that gets or my fuel that gets scored mean nothing. So once I've collected and it's not my shift, well, what am I doing? I'm just sitting there, maybe I play a little bit of defense or whatever. But I think that the answer is you pass balls to your side, or maybe you drive over and dump the balls to your human player or something like that, right? But you got to find
So,
something else to do.
so real talk here. In a shift of 25 seconds, how many loads do you think a team can do? Not cycles, loads. So factor in all the things.
That's how big that load is, to be honest. But I mean, if you're so it depends. Like, I think it's like a part of it is like how prepared are you for that load. So if you are like cycling balls to your side during your non-shift time, then it's as many as you can reach in that given time. Because I think your ball speeds are going to get pretty fast for this game, depending on what type of robot you pick. Like, no question, I could see teams doing like 100 balls in a shift.
I think, if you are aggressive, let's be aggressive here for a second. Let's just kind of like go all whatever. I think you can fire 3 loads. Like, let's talk
Really?
about full loads. But it's got to be perfect, Cole. And so
I'm completely the opposite. I think that majority of teams will only be able to get one load off in 25 seconds, and that the top teams will maybe be able to squeeze out a second.
So
I
your one
agree
load
with
is
you.
like 100 balls, right?
I
That's
agree
what-
Well, my
with
load's
you.
100 balls though.
Yeah.
I agree with you that the majority of teams will only be able to do one load. I think many teams will blow the 25 seconds and not actually shoot. That's going to be a thing. But I think if you come into the zone fully loaded and you're there right at the start and you fire a load in 3 seconds, and so maybe that's not a 100-ball load, but like that's a 50-ball load. And then I think you can hop over and back 11 seconds, hop over and back 11 seconds. Now we're talking
Who's gonna let
high
you
end.
back though? Who's gonna let
High
you
end.
back?
Someone who it's Cole. I think we have to recognize that not all teams play defense intelligently.
Okay, it's true.
And
True.
but Danny, sorry, I think you were trying to get in there. No, I saw your hand do a motion. I was like, oh, okay, let's go. But so I think it's possible. Is it the likely situation? No, but I think that's what you're aiming for. That's what you're optimizing for. Now, how do you make sure that you can do that? Is if you don't have to leave the zone to get the balls is the key. Like if you're actually like leave zone, probably not happening in those 11-second time frames. But if it's like you can just spend 11 seconds prowling your zone, collecting as many balls as you can, and then go shoot. But that's going to be reliant on someone being able to control the mid zone for you. And so I think passing is valuable. Like I think a pure passer that doesn't have the ability to put the ball in the goal is like, oh, what are we doing here, folks? Because you eventually have to come in and do a load, And I think it's we look at 2024, how it played out, where it's like pass, but sometimes, oh wait, they're not going to finish the amp cycle unless we go down there and get one for them or whatever, And so like it's I hate the key to this game is versatility and being able to do a lot of different roles. Or do you want because can you just zone in on being a finisher? Probably, but can you just zone in on being a passer? I don't know. Like Emily, you were giving me the head nod. What are you?
I don't know. There's a lot to think about, and that's like I love this game because there's so many different ways that people can play it, and with the possibility of being able to pass, I think that is really important. Like being able to pass it to your partners and having a partner just sitting in your one side during those 25 seconds. Because I think the reality that I want to bring up is that 50 seconds of the match you cannot score, which is huge. Like that out of 2 minutes and 40 seconds, that's a huge amount of time that you cannot score. So making the best use of your shifts is really important. So definitely having someone constantly shooting during those 25 seconds would be like the best strategy, I think.
Yeah, like if you have 2 robots that are just passive, I don't know. Like, and it's just like there's still a lot I don't understand about this game in terms of volumes, how fast robots can shoot. Like Cole's 100-pound, robot, just all balls firing 100 balls in 20 seconds. Like I just don't know. Like what I do know is there were times when in 2017, 125, like when with a perfect stream, could get like 12 balls out in a second. Like
I think
with a
Hoofs were saying they get hit 15. I think if you go to their all fuel match, they were like that was their peak.
yeah,
So
so like
in 2017, yeah.
these balls behave and like folks in 2017, we were all using 775 pros on our shooters.
Yeah.
Like now people are just gonna like load up 4 Krakens or something ridiculous like that, and I don't know.
Well, I don't know if you're going to be able to get the speeds that you get from Steamworks. I mean, the ball is larger, the ball is heavier, the ball is stickier.
Okay.
You know, it's way it by the way way lighter or way heavier than
Heavier.
it was in
Yeah.
Steamworks, right?
It's almost like 3 times heavier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I think it was like 170 grams.
And they had like, I mean, if you looked at like 118's robot, they had 2 Fairlane wheels, which was 3 pounds, plus brass flywheel, and 2 775s, and 1 booster motor, and that was just for this, this tiny little hold ball, like it was nothing, right? But now the balls are way bigger and way heavier, right? So if you think, and on top of all that, like if you're looking at 254 and thinking, oh, I'll just make their robot, right? You're not going to make their robot. You're not getting that 15 string,
Never.
right? So
I think we estimated like 8 to 10, or 8 was our number that we used for our calculator. I don't know if that's underestimating, but yeah.
It might be overestimating, and I don't know. Like, what do we know at this point? But I think the other thing to look at with all of that is there's driving determinants in all of this. Like, how quickly can you pick them up? How quickly can you move them through your robot? Because it's a non-trivial task to move this many balls to a robot, especially if you're trying to go single stream. Like now you're talking about a spin dexer or a hot dog rollers or a die rotor. Oh my goodness, that's another like piece of chaos right there. But we haven't talked accuracy. Like, because you might have to wait till the next period to score. Your shots matter. It can't just be pray and spray. And so how do you keep accuracy? How do you ensure that your first shot goes out the same speed as your 5th shot? How do you ensure that your balls, if they come out with a 0.1 second gap, go at the same speed as if there's a 1 second gap? Because for whatever reason, something got jammed or whatever. And so how do you deal with those challenges?
I think if your team reasonably wants to focus on one thing, and you're like thinking, like, I need to make sure my shooter is tuned, and I can deal with I can deal with the fact that I'm getting multiple heavy balls hitting the flywheel again and again and again. I think you will still have a lot of value. So I think it just takes a lot of kind of prototyping and figure out what works with your thing. There's a whole part of this as well as getting your feed very consistent, which I think is actually probably the hardest, or one of the harder parts of this game. There's a lot of the RI3D robots where people are showing examples of like it blowing up or something blowing, like a belt breaking or a chain breaking. And I think that's something that teams are going to actually reasonably deal with this thing. And so, no, I mean, I think it'll just take a lot of times, and teams should not underestimate like the effort it'll take.
I think right now it's very easy to look at robots from 2017 on Einstein or at Chessy Champs, who've been through a full season of iterating or whatever, or to look at some RI3D robots, which like these prototypes look amazing or whatever. But we all know that, like, especially with like a spin dexer or a thing, everyone can get a video where it just looks perfect and the stream just comes right through and it's like, oh my goodness. But you do that 100 times, what's it like? And if you ever get a jam where it just like jams, well, that's a match you just lost. And guess what? You're no longer the number 1 seed at your event. And you just lost crucial district points or regional points. And now you're not going to like a jam can be catastrophic. And so like it's just not okay to be like, oh yeah, we practiced a bunch. Yeah, it jammed here or there, but it's fine. Or like, oh yeah, it jammed, but like I went over and kicked the robot and then it was fine. Like you can't do that in a match, So there's a lot of challenges. I think the one thing common I'm over for this season is when people are like, "Oh, this game is so easy," and I'm just like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" Emily, all over the place, people are. This game is just too easy. It's too easy. There's not enough of a challenge, and I'm like, yeah. Unless you're on Orbit, you don't get to say that. Like,
I really want to see what robot they're thinking of if it's too easy.
right, right. Okay, so we're still on segment B. We have so many things to talk about, but I want to ask one more question because I think it's the talk right now of teams. I think this is what's going on, a discussion in many shops right now. Are you better off doing a single wide turreted shooter or a double wide fixed non-turreted shooter? So we keep talking
So
about
excited.
254 and we talked about 2056. In 2017, they were double wide stationary shooters. Were fabulous. 254 won everything that year. 2056 almost won everything like they normally do. And then but there's the turrets. And then came the 2022 season where Orbit revealed their robot and everyone's jaw hit the floor with the shoot on the fly technology. And Orbit was just constantly driving around and firing, and it's like, oh, that sounds like what you need in this game, sort of thing. And I remember Einstein 2022, the first time 254 played, and that was my first time watching them up close that season. I got chills watching them just drive around and just every ball, boom, 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 in. They'd pick up the other opponent's ball, we just turn and they'd fire it to a corner. And it was just like, oh, that sounds like what you need this year. On the other hand, we talked about how throughput matters in this game and its cycle speed or whatever, and the speed you can get with a double wide or whatever. So I'd love to hear the thoughts of the experts here, folks. That's why we bring you on the show. So who's going to go first? Emily. Someone had to go first.
I don't know. I don't know. I will say, like, I am the younger of this group, so I do have less experience with using all of those.
That was a nice way of calling us old.
I'll take it.
That was political. I am younger and less experienced.
I just have less seasons under my belt.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it depends on the team and the team's like ability. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you could do this, and I don't think every team should be the same. And I don't think like every successful team will be the same. But I think it just really depends on what kind of resources your team has for this.
Yeah, I mean, like, so that's the crux of all these discussions. Like, there is no right answer in this sort of stuff. You know, there's a right answer for your team, and you've got to figure that out. And like, there's resource evaluation. I give presentations on this every year. The information's out there. You know, it's resource evaluation. But I guess maybe the better way of phrasing this question is, do the extra complex challenges and complexity associated with a turreted shooter, meaning if you're going down to single stream, that means you have to have some sort of indexer, spin dexter, brushes, hot dog, something to get it to single stream. You have to be able to program the heck out of it. And you probably, if you want to be like elite turret shooter, you've got to have some tracking on the fly and those sorts of things. Is that difficulty? Does that give you enough value to go over the other one? And knowing that your throughput speed might be slower. I'm saying might because it's not a guarantee, because there's a lot of things going on when you're forcing multiple things. Like if you're forcing 1 pound through a shooter instead of half a pound, the speed difference and everything like that. So like, is there enough gain? But the gains that you get from a turret are being able to play through defense a little bit better, being able to really snowplow and pass without having to turn. You just kind of go and the turret just does its thing and puts the balls, whatever. And I think you're a little bit more versatile because I think you're a really, really good passer and finisher. Like, so you're gaining a lot, but there's complexity. And so, you know, and obviously for some teams, it's like, yeah, that's not complex for us. That's fine. But I don't know. Like Emily, you're right. This is very, very complicated and team specific. But Cole, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with like what you talked about earlier about fitting into a sort of an archetype that you could possibly have, right? If you want to be the team that's passing, the turret probably makes more sense for you. If you want to be the team that's just at your house, your home base there, you're just collecting, scoring, then you're probably going to just want throughput, and that's all you want is throughput. But I do think that like the conversation of like a double-barreled whatever, right? To me, when I think about having 2 barrels, I think that all it is just a cheat code for throughput, right? You can get the same throughput as a double-barreled turret with 1. You just need to do a lot more work on your transition inside of your robot. If you look at 118 in 2017, they were shooting almost just as fast as 254, right? And they only had 1. So you can get there. It's just sort of like, hey, let's half our problem by doubling our barrels, right? And then of course the question is, hey, why stop at 2?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's like the goal is like 7 balls width or something. So
Yeah,
you can, I mean, you're not going to go to
7.06.
7. Yeah, you're not going to go to 7, but I mean, I shouldn't stop you, but you're going to go,
Yeah.
you can go pretty wide with this.
Yeah, why have barrels at all? Why not just have
Yeah.
a giant funnel or whatever? Or why even have shooters at all? Why not just catapult and just throw all of the balls into the hole at once?
My
Okay.
favorite part is like the more throughput like multi-barrel robots you have, the more valuable like some of the turret robots become, because now everybody wants a turret robot as a partner. And so I say you can't go wrong. There's different complexities that come up as a result. But yeah, I expect like teams to be basically you have to be versatile no matter what. You have to be able to play all roles, because you never know like who your partners are in a match.
And who says a turret has only 1 barrel?
Yeah,
So you could do a 2 wide turret, or you could do, chat brought it up, multiple turrets. That's on the table, folks. So it happened in 2017. Rush had them. I'm sure Code Orange had 2 turrets one year.
sounds right.
Yeah. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Why not 4 turrets? Just put them on every corner of the robot. Then you don't, like
Those
I
are
don't know
the
where you're
smart
getting that.
modules, Karthik.
Yeah, just one on each. Yeah. Just like a match.
Yeah, they can shoot at each other, like you can like some are passing, some are whatever. You
Some
can-
giant Lazy Susan and a 4-barrel turret. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Before we leave Fuel, I wish I was in high school so I could be the human player wearing an Indiana Jones hat and just chucking the balls into the goal. Like, first of all, the fact that all the characters in the animation are dressed up like Indiana Jones made me so happy. I'm just like all about that. Do. Human player's got a fun job if they have balls to throw. But my question is, will the human player actually have balls to throw?
Maybe if we like don't plan well, that might be
Cole,
an
will you
idea.
allow your human player to throw balls, or you just?
Oh yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, I walked into the shop and I saw a kid that wasn't on the team, and he was like 7 feet tall, and I was like, "How's your arm, buddy?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think what Karthik or what Rishi said is perfect. It's like if you drive back and you accidentally drove back with 3 seconds to go and you're waiting, I'll give some balls to the human player, right? But that's pretty much the only time he's ever getting anything.
Oh,
Yeah,
or
that's
she's
just-
ever
we
getting
ju- we just
unfortunately,
used- we just used like the whole show on one topic. We're gonna go a little long, folks. We're gonna go a little long. Danny, Cole, Rishi, Emily, you can go like extra 10 minutes. We good with that?
Yeah.
Danny, maybe not. Okay, Danny's good. Okay, let's talk endgame. But so to talk endgame, let's take a look at the tower.
Hi, I'm Fiona. And I'm Liz, and we're here to talk to you about the tower. The tower is a structure on the field where robots can climb during both auto and tele-up.
An auto and tele-up? How exciting!
I know, there's a red tower and a blue tower.
The tower uprights are made of steel, and the tower rungs are aluminum round pipe. Each tower is powder-coated either red or blue.
Each tower has 2 April tags for field orientation and targeting. See the field dimension drawings for exact dimensions and details.
The spacing between the uprights is just over 32 inches, which is a tight space for multiple robots to fit. Be sure to review the CAD for exact dimensions. Robots will need to be creative to find ways to get all 3 robots to fit.
Each rung is centered between the uprights and extends approximately 6 inches past the upright on either side. The low rung is 27 inches off the floor, and each of the other rungs are spaced 18 inches apart, measured from the center of the pipe.
Teams should make sure to read the game manual. With the robot height restrictions, it'll certainly be a challenge for robots to climb to the highest level.
Teams should specifically pay attention to the scoring criteria and what your robot can and can't be touching in order to earn the tower points.
Finally, teams should be aware that there are bolts and nuts sticking out a little bit from the uprights when designing their climber. Teams can check out the CAD for exact dimensions.
Good luck, and we'll see you at the competition.
All right. I'm going to name some past end games, and I want people to tell me if this is harder, easier, or you're too young to know. Okay. So let's talk about 2022. Is the 30-point climb in this game harder or easier than the 14-point traversal climb in that game?
It's easier. Like this is easier. This year is easier. I mean, it's not like, yeah, it has very similar inklings to the fact that it is like a 3-bar climb. I know there's a low rung that time as well, or additionally. But yeah, you were traveling in 2 directions, so it was definitely a much more complex thing, and the bars were obviously a lot farther. Mine and the robots were bigger, but the challenge of going vertically is not something that should be like ignored, to say the least, especially with like your bumpers.
Emily, Cole, thoughts?
I want to say harder for the fact that the ladder is smaller, so you can fit less robots on it this year. And so like the ability to get points for climbing is going to be more difficult than it was, I think in 2022.
I agree exactly, Emily, where I think if this was just one robot in an empty field, I think this one is easier.
Yeah.
But the fact that, you're trying to maximize robots on that, and maybe instead of just going through past games, we can continue to talk. How are you getting 3 on?
I think it's a lot harder for that specific reason,
Yeah.
right? Like it may be easier for one robot to do something, but once you start to add robots to that equation, it becomes much more difficult. And also 2022, you only needed to be touching the bar. This one you have to be above the bar. You actually don't have to touch the bar at all, but your bumper has to be completely above it, which means, if you're climbing in the middle, you have to be offset. You can't. How do you drive this bar through your entire robot? You're gonna cut it in half as you're climbing. So I think it looks easy. It's like, hey, it's just a ladder. Just climb the ladder. But a robot doesn't climb a ladder the same way you climb a ladder.
Okay. So there's 32 inches of center bar, and there's 5.875 inches on the outside. Who's using it? None of you? Come on, use your words.
I mean, I think we have a lot of time to figure out how we're gonna do it. So I don't wanna promise anything, but yeah, I mean, everyone's looking at it. Penn State put out the flip climb. That's obviously one that, I mean,
The Penn State RI3D group is like next level. Like as a kid who was born on the campus of the Ohio State University, this is like pain for me to say, but the Penn State group is so good. It is wild, like I'm surprised after like the firing of James Franklin. I didn't know if they'd be able to keep up with all this and everything like that. They paid a big buyout, so they didn't have a budget for this. They've turned out so many good prototypes. We'll talk about them in the resource section. But like they have like a flip climb, and Cole, they do the thing where they literally stand on their head essentially and get their bumpers above, and I think that's an interesting one. But there's like 44 inches of bar basically, and 3 robots in 44 inches is kind of very, very hard. So you got to be creative on this.
I also think that the difficulty is a bit deceptive here, because when I first watched it, I thought, okay, the climbing in the middle is the easy part, climbing on the outside is the hard part. But I've completely flipped now. I think it's actually harder to climb to level 3 on the middle. Especially after watching the Penn State video. I mean, it seems pretty easy. I'll just do that. Maybe I'll do hooks or whatever, you know what I mean? But to get your robot, because when you first, like latch on to whatever the bottom hook is, right? You now have to pick yourself up, because there's no extension, right? You now have to pick yourself up and grab the other hook. but your CG is off, right? You're going to be swinging. How do you get yourself to go and grab onto that hook?
And you're got to make sure your bumpers don't swing and then catch on the bar.
Yeah.
Like it's it's. I thought when I saw this climb, I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. And then you think about it more and more, it's like, oh, there is a lot going on. Danny, do you have any climbing thoughts?
I hope there's a jumping bot.
Pardon me?
I hope there's a jumping bot.
There we
That's
go.
awesome.
There we go. Like that's all I need.
He's like, fire me up.
Yeah. I'm back. Where's the flow chart? Do I have a flow chart? Do I have it? No, it's in my bag. It's in my bag.
Isn't
I'll get
there
it
a
after the
rule
commercial
that
break.
says there can't be a jump bot? I remember seeing something. No,
I didn't see
R108?
anything. What is R108?
you had the
Stop.
rule.
I forget. I remember. I haven't looked at it today.
There is a rule there that says something about mechanisms other than your wheels touching or pushing you off the ground or something like that. But the
But
way I'm
they
pretty
didn't-
sure the way that they did it, they didn't actually.
They didn't
use their
react off
wheels,
the
right?
ground. Yeah.
Yeah, 108 is robot extensions may not interact with the carpet, bumps, or tire base, such that the bumpers are lifted out of the bumper zone.
Yeah, that's if you push down. I don't.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, we'll have to see. All right, that's a great transition. So I'm gonna go get a prop for our next segment to do with that. But let's take a look at a word from one of our sponsors, Centerline. All right, hey folks, we're back here. All right, so I said I have a prop. So in the 2022 season, a lot of scientists and researchers worked to put together something. It was it's a state machine that determines if Karthik cares about a robot. And so let me just put it here. Can we see that? Does Karthik care about a robot? Question: does it jump? No. No. Leave Karthik alone. Just no. Yes. Hell yeah. All right. That's it for the season. So we're bringing back the jumping rules. Don't tell me about your robot. Don't be like, oh, do you want to see this match? You're like, does the robot jump or not? Like it was like every match, like, oh yeah, we got this great match. We got 2056. We got Theory. Do any of them jump? No. Not
I'm
really.
gonna disappoint you this season.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. You know, like no, Theory robots jump all the time. They jump and then they
just not on purpose. Yeah. Sometimes up the pole. Sometimes. Yeah.
You know, it's
If I take the
okay.
bump at full speed,
Yeah.
am I jumping or how does that work?
Hey, I'm here for
Maybe I
airtime.
can make it to the hangar and grab on.
Cole, you almost jumped to the net last year. That was a
That's true.
one.
Yeah. Cool. I'll pay attention. So I pay attention to jumping robots. I pay attention when drive coaches show up to the question box with a measuring tape. So those are the things I pay attention
Fair
to.
enough.
All right, folks, we're not going to be able to cover everything today. So you know what, folks? Autonomous. It's important, but it's early, and we're going to skip that right now because we got to, hey, can't do everything at 10 out of 10. So we got to cut down,
For sure.
I mean, so let's go. And I want to talk strategic design. So, and to start with the strategic design, part of it is, sorry, I dropped something from my notebook, and I'm very weird. If I drop something, I have to pick it up right away. I don't like to just let it sit there on the ground. So when doing strategic design, we talked about the game and the way you score points, but we haven't talked about how you get ranked. and ranking points, I think, are important to look at. So the ranking points have changed since last year. So last year we had the introduction of the third bonus ranking point, which was great. More ways for teams to differentiate themselves. The standings were super accurate, you know. But this year, I like it even more. So there's no more auto ranking point. And sometimes the auto ranking point felt a little bit like a punishment because it was more that everyone was getting it unless someone's auto failed. And that's not a good feeling. Or the worst is when someone drove off the line and then drove back over the line and, you know, and like you lose that ranking point. And then suddenly it's like, how are you going to catch up for that ranking point? But now there's two types of ranking points. There's fuel ranking points and there's hanging ranking points. But the fuel ranking point has 2 levels. And so 100 and 360. That is a lot. That is a lot. So what do we think about this new RP system? Emily, I know you have thoughts because you messaged me on kickoff and saying, I want to talk about ranking points.
I just think it's really interesting. Well, like you mentioned, there's no auto RP, which is huge. There's no cooperation RP this year, which is also big. I think the fact there's 2 different types of fuel is really interesting because there's not just like one unreachable goal that teams are going to struggle to get to. There's one more manageable that we'll probably see at earlier competitions, and then one that will probably be unlocked, like I'm guessing like Ontario DCMP sort of thing. Maybe earlier. I'm not saying not. I just think it's interesting that there's like 2 different goals you can have for fuel. And then traversal is also really interesting because you can get some of those points during auto and then also in endgame.
Cole, what are your thoughts on 2 ranking points for the same task?
Yeah, I think it's nice. I think the first ranking point is sort of a gimme, though.
Well, your
think-
robot's holding 100 pieces
Yeah,
of
so
fuel.
I'm just shooting it right away.
One
You
shift.
know?
Yeah.
My imaginary robot that hasn't shot a single ball yet. Is
Yeah.
But
I think you're
I
right.
do think it is really a gimme. Like, you know, unless you have, you know, something breaks or you just don't have shooters, something like you have 3 passing robots on your team or whatever, right? It's mostly a gimme, and then the other one is more of a okay, now we need to prioritize that. But I do like it from a perspective of when we talk about strategic design, about what you're putting on your robot and whatnot, right? You can get 5 ranking points guaranteed without touching one of the aspects of the game. And I think that is very different from previous years, where you had to interact with a lot of different things and you had to have auto and you had to do this and whatnot. So if you are thinking to yourself, hey, maybe we don't have the weight to be, have a second barrel should we lose our climber? Or, oh, no, let's take out one of our barrels so that we can add a climber. Well, yeah, it's worth a ranking point. It's not worth that many points, but you can get rank 5 ranking points, just off of only shooting balls, right? So something worth thinking about.
Every year we kind of talk about tank versus swerve. I don't really feel like talking about that anymore. I think the answers have kind of been laid out. I think you can be successful with tank still. I think the kit bot is going to be a great tank bot, and we're going to talk about the kit bot in just a moment. But yeah, I think there's other things we could talk about. We talked about the viability of defense and what you can see and everything going on in the field. But so Rebuilt harkens back to a lot of different games. We talked about 2006 with the different periods. We talked about 2010 with the different zones and how that plays. We talked about 2017 with the fuel shooting. I think there's a neat parallel when it comes to I hate the term, but game metas to 2024, where the game changed a few times throughout the season. And I think that Rebuilt is going to evolve during the season. But how do you all see it evolving between our week 2 and 3 events here in Ontario, our provincial championship, and then when you get to Worlds, if your school's going to let you go?
I mean, I feel like every time I do this exercise, I always underestimate what the game actually is to an extent. I feel like last year I was like, oh, the first 3 levels of the reefs aren't going to fill up till later on, and then Dogs and Chargers did it week 1. So it's I do think there's going to be like very specific rules, just like you said, 2024. I mean, amplified time is the same thing as like shift time to an extent, where you have to like just prioritize. And so if there's going to be people like disrupting like specific times where you expect to score, then there's going to be specific times when opponents are going to be like trying to ruin that time for you. So I think it's going to play a lot into like how are you going to manage your time properly. It's definitely a coach game. So a lot of reacting to like what is happening in the field. No match is going to be the same. I expect my strat to come to matches with a giant flow chart so that they can tell me exactly if this, then this.
I've got it. I got
Okay. Yeah. Already failing that one. But yeah, it's I think it's gonna be very reactionary, but I do think I think people are underestimating like the value of moving balls like across the field. Not just the neutral zone.
Emily?
Yeah, I can't wait for.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry,
sorry. I'll just jump in for 1 sec, and then I can't wait for elims when there's a robot in the middle shooting balls into the hopper of another robot, and then that robot is shooting them into the depot or whatever, right? And it's just a chain, and that's all it is, and it's just going constantly.
These are the evolutions that I'm looking at. So Emily, jump in.
Oh, I always underestimate how the game evolves too, but like I'm excited because right now I think 360, unlike Cole, I think that's a lot. Like I think that'll be a lot to do.
And
but
can I just say, this is coming from the person on the team last year who at their first event started
Well-
cycling 30 cycles in a match, like
Yeah.
at the start of the season. So
I don't know,
360 is hard.
because
Yeah.
I think like carrying 100, first off, carrying 100 balls is adding 50 pounds to your robot, which I think we need to talk about how I don't know how
So
realistic that
crazy.
is personally, but I don't, I don't know. But I think that is going to take into account, and I think that's definitely going to happen, and like I think it's definitely possible that they could increase those RPs like they have in the past, which I'm really excited for when or if they do that. But I don't think it's going to be like an easy right off the bat thing.
I think 360 is hard. But
Yeah.
I think so 2024 started off with everyone cycling. I think this game may start off with more passing because I think people are remembering 2024, like, half the students were around for that game and, and lots of the mentors. I think it'll start off with more passing. And then I think a lot of people are thinking about defense in the zone. I think at some point this game is going to evolve into defending people from getting into the zone. And I think that piece is going to be really big. And then I think that's going to reinvigorate passing, because when you realize transitioning between zones or whatever. But I think we'll see many shifts. And I also think that this game is going to play out differently in different regions. And it's not to say that one region has a style of play, but a style of play will be adopted by what people see early on, and that will continue. And so I think it's kind of silly to talk about region-wide trends before they happen, but I think that a couple teams will set the example for how things are being played, and then it will continue that way. And I think championship will just be fantastic because then it's all these different styles of play coming together, and you've got to make it work. So it's all super exciting. Could each of you describe a simple yet competitive robot geared at a team with fewer resources? So we're talking about a team that's budget isn't huge, can only meet a couple times a week, and but still wants to be competitive.
I think if you mimic the Kitbot, personally, I would probably put the intake on the other side and make the box much bigger, and also put the shooter in one of the corners instead of in the middle. I think you're probably good, and that's all you need to do.
And we're going to talk Kitbot in a second, but I want to remember those are all changes you can make to the Kitbot. Remember, the Kitbot's a starting point for teams, and so the Kitbot naturally, you can make it bigger, you can move the shooter, you can turn things around or whatever. But and Emily, Rishi, Danny, any suggestions for teams on simple things?
I think like definitely for a team, with a smaller budget. Like the Kitbot's amazing, and just starting there, or at least building that this week, for example, and then seeing other things you can add or change is a great start. I definitely think if you want to like be more competitive, I definitely think be able to climb to at least like level 1, maybe more, would definitely be useful in competition, because having a robot that can climb is going to be very important when it comes down to eliminations.
Yeah,
So,
that L1 is like, I think it's the fastest points you can get, like
Yeah.
based on time. So it's like an obvious. If you can figure it out in auto, it's just so obvious to go.
That's the thing. If I'm a simple team, and so I'm going to start off with the Kitbot. That's going to be the base or whatever. I'm going to show that video in just a second because it's so good. But I'm going to line up right in front of the hub. I'm going to back up, fire my 8, and I'm going to drive straight into the bar, and 2 hooks are going to go up for my 15-point auto climb, and 30% of the RP has been taken care of for my partners, and then if I go back at the end, I've done half the RP, and unfortunately you don't get half an RP, you still need everything to go, but I think that's the really way to do that. So like we're talking about it, let's take a look at the 2026 Kitbot. Yeah, like with the Kitbot, first of all, you could just go into an event and play with the Kitbot and be good. But things that I would do for sure, if you have the resources to add some extra motors in places to speed things up, I think that's important. If you want to carry more balls, if you want to put in Cole's 100-ball hopper on top, you definitely want to have more than 2 motors on the drivetrain there. But I think there's a lot you can do with that. We're going to talk resources in a second, but I do want to try and hit some of these questions from chat. I think we talked a lot about passing, so I think we can skip Gabriel's question. There may or may not be active tasks for human players throughout a match, and more teams are consolidating to a single driver. What things can additional drive team members do to help their alliance behind the glass? Cole and Rishi, what do you want human players to do during a match if they don't have anything to do?
First, I'd like to say I am so glad that there is that they kind of nerfed the double human player thing. I was like, we were one of the teams that didn't go to it last year. And you can ask my teammates. I was praising that I get an operator, but in that sense, I've run a lot of years as the operator, basically as the pseudo coach. I think that's like potentially what's going to happen again this year. Because I think the drive coach is going to have a lot of decisions to make when it comes to like what is happening 10 seconds after like right now. So that's going to be huge, I think. And yeah, the human player might have some balls to throw, but probably not.
You're going to see a Durham match where my operator is coaching my driver, his operator is coaching his driver, and we do the same on someone else. And it's just me, Rishi, and someone else in the back playing, chess or something.
Yeah.
Not playing, because we're not playing a game anymore.
Delegate,
yeah. I think you should use these extra folks back there as spotters. Like we talked about how difficult it is to see things, and like they can step out to the side in the human player slot and kind of like poke around, and just kind of see what's going on, spotting like, oh, there's a clump of balls that we can't see, like fuel. At least I'm not calling it cargo or something,
Yeah, it's not bad.
There's that. Triple climb possible?
No.
Question? No?
Not possible? I mean, it's possible. It's probably not likely, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Someone said, can we buddy climb? Well, the answer to that is no.
That's Mr. Tomrinator, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Tomrinator.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's yeah.
sorry. I was thinking about
Alright.
his other question, which was the buddy climb one.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you
just
buddy
like-
climb? I mean, not
No,
you can't
I
fully
don't think
support
I-
your robot. Yeah.
No,
can't fully
Tom, you
support-
have no buddies.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
who says you cannot score when inactive? Wouldn't these count towards ranking points? Besides doing so, and so the answer to that one is, well, that was ambiguous until about 4:45 p.m. When Team Update 1 came out, and they said for you score only during active sessions and you accrue towards the ranking point only when the hub is active. So they changed the wording there to better align with the intent. Because for a while, some people were thinking that you could still put fuel in the hub when it's not active and it would still count towards the ranking point, but that is not the case. So that's a good question. That's a good question. From Zachary Fed, why would you need to hold more than 8 fuel if you plan on passing?
If you're passing every ball, I'm taking advantage of that. I'll be honest. Like I'm just taking the ball. You're passing it to me in your zone, and I'm passing it back. Like in all honesty, but yeah, I think and also you're not. The more driving during your active time, the worse.
Zach's only holding 8 and Cole's holding 12 and a half times more than that. So,
It's funny
On
'cause
average,
the
or an
discussion
average
with
robot?
my other mentor is that he also wants to only hold 8, and do that style was a snowplow style. But I think it's a buffer, right? When you can't pass because you're
yeah, because like
maybe in a specific spot or whatever.
exactly,
Could be
someone's
doing
in your
stuff.
way and whatever,
Yeah.
like it's you're filling the shopping cart. You're filling the shopping cart, and so it's really annoying when you know the grocery stores with like the big shopping cart and the little one, the big ones are all gone, and you take a little one, and you're like, oh, what am I supposed to do now? Oh, great! And you're like holding things, and everyone's looking at you, and you're afraid you're gonna drop a bottle of pickles. No one else experienced this. Anyone? No
You
one
should probably
related to this?
probably put the bottles in the cart, but fair enough.
Okay, well, okay, thanks, man. All right. It's full because I got 100
Yeah, of
fuel in
course.
there. Yeah. No, I
think
put
when
the
you look at
toilet
this-
paper in there, like,
I think when you look at this game, instead of like, or more from a lens of like, how do I get the most control of game pieces? Passing, the reason why you pass is because you feel that you have more control the closer the balls are towards your goal. But I have the most control when the ball is in my robot. I think it's, I mean, theoretically, you could reach in and grab the balls out of my robot. That would be pretty crazy. But, I have all the control when it's in my robot or in my human player station. If it's on the ground because I passed it, sure, it's closer to my thing. But, if you put a defender over there and just pass those balls all the way back, then you've just done nothing. Then you've just got 2 robots shooting streams at each other. And what is that doing for you? I don't know.
yeah, like I think there's like fill up to capacity, then start passing because you're at capacity. It's like you're trying to move as many of those balls into control. So, folks, it's like only been 3 days. We are not going to solve all the strategic challenges in this game, and it's going to evolve. It's going to play. But thanks for this discussion. But I want to talk a little bit about resources. First off, 118 Everybot is going to be coming out next Tuesday on this show. Link is going in chat to learn more, but tune in for the next episode so we can see all the things that it's going to be able to do. That's going to be super exciting. The Open Alliance, there's 4 teams. There's many teams who do cool things, but there's 4 teams I really want to draw your attention to. I have alerts set on their posts. Team 3847 Spectrum, Team 4481 the Rembrandts from the Netherlands, who've already uploaded 107 prototyping videos to their YouTube channel, all in one playlist. It is amazing. What I love about them, they show the prototypes that work and they show the ones that don't work, because it's important for teams to see teams fail, because sometimes you just see the best, most manicured prototype video, and it's going to be a problem this year when people see perfect streams coming out of, and they're like, oh my goodness, why aren't we doing that? Teams fail sometimes too, but like that's great. 6328 Mechanical Advantage, they're already shooting down. They actually did an off-season prototype this summer, and it was like actually a shooter for 7-inch balls from 2020. And so like they're ready and dialed in, and they're shooting, and they're doing cool things. So that's neat to see. 3467 Mechanical Advantage, always had good stuff. And there's 2 RIDs we need to look at. A lot of RID 3Ds, I'm like, I don't even know what you're doing. But like, it's cool that you're having fun, and that's the most important thing. But 2 that are really serve as resources to the community are Penn State, because they show so many prototyping videos of so many different approaches. They probably released their full Robot by now. It's been 3 days, so I haven't seen it yet. And Cranberry Alarm, they were the pizza box one, and just some cool things there. There's a lot of resources out there. It's wild how much we know about this game in 3 days that we never would have known 10 years ago because of, I guess RI3D started in 2013, but because there's so many RI3Ds and so many teams releasing prototyping videos or whatever, like there's huge value in that. So I think it's important that folks take a look at that. Thanks everyone. This was great. So Cole, Rishi, and Emily, what we're gonna do, Danny, we're gonna get together at the provincial championship, and we're gonna film some TikToks and some Instagram reels right there about what we got right and what we got wrong. I'm gonna get the youth council to film these for us, and I think it'll be fun just to look back at what's going on. When you make when you do shows like this, we are bound to get things wrong. It's only 3 days in. No one knows this stuff or whatever, but we do this to get people thinking and get people to have discussions and to go through these sorts of things. Yeah, someone in chat saying Open Alliance as well. Yeah, all those teams that we just mentioned are Open Alliance teams. So it's great stuff. There's like 100 Open Alliance teams. I can't mention them all. I can't bother to look at everyone's threads or whatever. But these 4 have really. Oh, also there's another one. There's this guy from Arizona. He has a YouTube channel. His name is S Forbes. And every year he releases Lego prototypes of FRC mechanisms, and they are so good. So like, I don't really like to subscribe to too much FRC stuff on my YouTube, because then suddenly my whole feed is just like, I want my whole feed to be Stranger Things, and then suddenly my whole feed is like robot videos or whatever, And so we didn't get to talk about Stranger Things, but I just want to say that Steve Harrington and Robin Buckley are the 2 best characters on the show by far. Robin Buckley, I love you. That's all I'm gonna say right there. But yeah, so take a look at those things, share resources, and we're gonna be back. It's gonna be great. I don't remember the last time I was this excited for a game. I don't know. 2014. Honestly, that's how long it's been. Right. I was excited in 2015 for different reasons. I didn't think it was gonna be exciting to watch, but like I was like, oh. I was on a team where I was like, we got
That's
this.
fair. That's fair.
We got this.
So you were excited
really?
Like once you figured it out. Yeah. Like
we had we had the robot prototyped in the first week. It's on the YouTube channel, like out of wood, and it was just like, yeah, we got this or whatever. But like 2014, where I was just like, oh, this is a sport, and those are the types of games that really get me everything. So that's a wrap. Cole, how are you feeling about the Leafs right now?
A little shaky, but I'm thinking we're coming back.
I think we're coming back, man. We're back. Last night, we are so back. We're so back. Toronto sports is in a good place right now. Let me just say.
Yeah.
The Raptors surprisingly plucky right now, and Jays. I mean, for all I know, Kyle Tucker might have signed during the show. It's going to happen any minute now or whatever. But the Jays, like, everything's rebounding. Olympics coming up. Canada's looking really, really strong. Short track speed skating. Watch out. Men's hockey. Watch out. Women's hockey. Watch out. We're coming. We're coming for the podium. It's going to be a lot. Freestyle, moguls. Canada might talk podium at these games.
That's exciting.
You hear that, audience from other countries? We're coming. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. Danny, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
Oh, you muted, Danny.
Like a 6, 7.
Danny's a 6. Danny's a 6. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's it. The show's over. The show's over. That's it. That's it. We're done. Watch some Stranger Things. Steve Harrington's the best. Robin Buckley, love you. We'll see you all soon. Good night, everyone.